Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you. The United States is in trouble, ladies and gentlemen, and the Supreme Court clipping the SEC's wings. You're going to want to hear Jeremy Hogan on this one. And the Lollapallooza effect of XRP price, $18 incoming. And we're going to hear from David Schwartz a little bit, too. You're going to love every single bit of it. But somebody's got to roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.47 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is up 1.6. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. 37,000 right now, 100 plus for Bitcoin, 2,000 slightly over for Ethereum. Tether market cap is 86.7 billion plus, and we still don't know how the Department of Justice and U.S. Treasury truly feel, but we know how Senator Cynthia Lummis feels. Yeah, she says, go after them. Take them out. We don't have a crypto market healthy unless we understand exactly how the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve and everybody else feels about Tether being sold outside of the regulatory framework that most things are monitored by. We will watch and see. 67 cents at the number 5 spot for XRP, up 4.4 in the last 24 hours and up 10.4 on the 7-day. We're going to take a look at some TA before we get out of here. You're going to love it. Range of prices between 64 cents and 68 cents right now, sitting at 67.81. Link to, ladies and gentlemen, I've told you about it, but let me tell you something. Circle has said they are considering an IPO in 2024. And guess where you can get Circle private equity? Right here at link to. But you got to click the link underneath the video, and you better do it quick because you know it doesn't last long. And all you need to do is sign up and register to get started. It is that easy. That's all you have to do. But starts by clicking that link underneath the video. What a great clip here by Jeremy Hogan here. I want you to listen to this and compare where we are today in this country to where we were back in this day at this time with John F. Kennedy. Take a listen.
This country was conquered by those who move forward, and so will space. William Bradford, speaking in 1630 of the founding of the Plymouth Bay Colony, said that all great and honorable actions are accompanied with great difficulties, and both must be enterprised and overcome with answerable courage. If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not. And it is one of the great adventures of all time. And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the Industrial Revolution, the first waves of modern invention, and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it.
And what a difference we're in when we're talking about the technology race that's happening today, right? Crypto, AI, distributed ledger technology, blockchain. When we think about these things, and I believe it was Dr. Warren von Braun, if I remember right, and I may have messed his last name up, but I believe it was. He was asked by John F. Kennedy, what will it take to go to the moon? And the doctor said, the will to do it. Much different than where we are today, isn't it? And this numbskull right here. Look at this.
To deal with a situation.
You have a plan to deal with China suddenly dumping $859 billion worth of U.S. Treasuries, Janet Yellen? Do you have a plan?
Where China would dump that volume of Treasury securities overnight.
What's your plan, Janet?
So we are not engaging in specific exercises to address such a risk.
and smiling at us while she tells us we don't have a plan, right? Don't have a fire drill. Nothing. I got nothing, right? And then we have this. And again, I have said this. We saw casinos attacked in Vegas, Caesars, MGM. Luckily, they're all back on track now. And I said at the time when it happened, this scared me because casinos are some of the hardest things to crack into. And I felt like, gosh, with the threats that we had from Russia and other countries about cyber attacking the United States, I said, man, I hope that this is not some kind of crazy pilot test run to do harm to the financial system. Well, this could lean into that idea. World's biggest bank forced to trade via USB stick after a hack. The incident caused ICBC's clients to reroute some treasury trades, a true shock to banks around the world. Oh boy. When I tell you about things like, Glint Pay, your alternative to banking, or when I tell you about Miles Franklin, precious metals, I'm a customer to those things because I use them. And I use them because of things like this that could really magnify or 10x or 1,000x in our lives. It doesn't mean it will happen. I just want to have a plan, unlike Janet Yellen, if it does. And you can too if you click the link to those things underneath the video. Moody's Investor Service recently made a pivotal move, lowering its ratings outlook on the United States government from stable to negative. Oh boy. Now, I bet old Janet doesn't have a plan for this either, right? What's your plan, Janet? Everybody with good credit is looking at Janet and the U.S. government like this right now. They're like Cat Williams. Say what? From stable to negative. And everybody in their personal lives doing the best they can to keep their credit right? Bills paid. And you're watching your own country go down the toilet. But I can tell you what the answer isn't. It's not Ethereum. Ethereum fees briefly jumped to $100 after BlackRock's ETH ETF filing, and properly said here by Dr. Martin Heisboig. And here is your eternal Ethereum problem. Fees spiked to as high as $270. Late on Thursday, the data shows temporarily touching a level last seen in June of 2022. And everybody's supposed to flock to the network because it's so good. Here's a solution. And you don't have to believe me when I say it. Listen to the people that are using it say it inside the financial system. Shout out to Mr. Mann for this. You know the Hong Kong dollar digital wholesale CBDC project, right? You know what's up with that. Well, take a look here because the proof's in the pudding.
So this give a very brief overview of the 16 pilots that we've been doing with the firms. You can see we can...
Yeah, let's get to it
But
here.
as you can see,
Let me move this forward a little bit.
We have seen in some of our daily life today as well. And of course, with cash, we can also do a lot of offline payment, but we'll expect to allow offline payment for a digital EHKD as well.
And very quickly, we know we have relationships with HSBC. We know we have relationships with Visa. We know we have relationships with MasterCard, right? Keep listening here.
But on the right-hand side, those are the things that are getting us into the new world, in the tokenization world that we'll see. I think tokenization in general is like a very hot topic in the finance world today. So the right-hand side are all use cases that were related to tokenization.
There it is. Settlement of tokenized assets. Ripple. Just waiting to happen. Fubon Bank, you see it sitting right there. When people are so frustrated, right? And this is coming from the Bank of Israel talks here, right? Is what's happening, or a conference that's happening here. And then obviously you're hearing about the CBDC wholesale for the Hong Kong dollar. This is remarkable what's happening regardless of what we're seeing in the United States, right? That's where I get excited, and it doesn't deter me one single bit. And I hope it brings you strength as well. And then let's look at this. Jeremy Hogan shares a specific insight from a Supreme Court decision in a Binance case that really clips the wings of the SEC, certainly in the damage phase, What a remarkable piece of insight this is from Jeremy Hogan here. I want you to take a listen. And it says here, basically, in his latest remarks, Hogan has drawn attention to a strategic precedent that could benefit Ripple, citing the Morrison versus National Australia Bank. Now, listen to how this unfolds. The case adjudicated by the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. Hogan noted, by the way, if you're rooting for Ripple, throw a big kiss to CZ and Binance for their win last year in Anderson versus Binance case, which really restricted the reach of U.S. securities laws outside of the U.S. The case helps Ripple out a lot. Legal nerd stuff below, and here it is. Delving into the deeper legal intricacies here, Hogan shared the specific insight from the Supreme Court's decision, pointing out this. The Supreme Court says that Ripple sales must have been in the U.S., or at least on a U.S. exchange. How is the SEC's experts going to get around that? He questioned the ability of the SEC to assert extraterritorial jurisdiction, highlighting the importance of transaction location in the application of U.S. securities laws. So essentially, Hogan also contemplated the international ramifications of the SEC's case against Ripple, suggesting that if the SEC overreaches, it could provoke an international response similar to that seen in the Morrison case. I didn't even know this. And if the SEC tries to extend its reach outside of the U.S., will the UK and France and Australia file amicus briefs the way John Deaton did, like they did in the Morrison case? That would be embarrassing. Yes, it would. Imagine countries filing for amicus brief in the Ripple case like they did in the Morrison case. So we have precedent from the Supreme Court, precedent from other countries' governments, that they're like, no, SEC, don't come over here trying to tell us what to do, right? What a remarkable, remarkable precedent and insight from Jeremy Hogan here and the Supreme Court. I say bring it on, ladies and gentlemen. All of this leads us to talk about where we could be going with XRP price, and I'm going to have something here from Egrad Crypto aside from this that you're absolutely going to love, and I'm sure you love this too, as I do. What could propel XRP's value to an unprecedented $18 coin? Well, not only do they say, history's past, as we know, 2017, right? The major soar we saw, 140,000%, right? $128.4 billion for Ripple, or XRP rather, during that time. We saw a massive blooming of the flow of dollars into the project. So now let's go here though, and let's look at where we really are with the Lollapallooza effect. Well, this is really great. Let me get to this so we can just read this a little better here. First, to have regulatory clarity, multiple major partnerships, adoption from institutional players, interoperability and integration, influencing and enhancing retail institutional sentiment, cross-border payment solutions, operational savings for financial institutions, micropayments for everyday use, enhanced liquidity and market depth, multiple integration with payment providers, otherwise collectively known as the Lollapallooza effect or network effects that I've been talking about. This is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a remarkable clip from David Schwartz. And listen to him talking about the mindset of people, whether you're actually an investor or truthfully, or whether you're using something as a market maker or a participant, right? So take a listen to this.
One thing, nobody who thinks a token is going to be worth $10 tomorrow is going to sell it for $3 today, right? That just, if someone is selling something for $3 today, they don't think they can sell it for $10 tomorrow, because otherwise they would do that. So, just those little bits of common sense go, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Unless it's the AMM on the XRP ledger, which does sound too good to be true, it is true. But everything else that sounds too good to be true probably is.
What a remarkable concept that is, right? And it's very basic and simple, right? If you believe something's worth $10, you're certainly not going to sell it for $3. But I wanted to speak to this from a speculator and investor in this space, and it's not financial advice. I'm just sharing a digital perspective here, the way David was, right? And I certainly am excited to see the unfolding of and the launch of automated market makers and what they will be able to do, because I think it's going to be magnificent in multiple different ways. But that's a conversation for another day. But I wanted to talk about the ideas. That is why I have made a shallow bag and a long-term bag. Shallow bag is something that I plan on taking some profits at a smaller number than I believe my investment will ultimately go to, right? And that way I can not have to sit for years and years and years and years for it to go to the thing I certainly believe it can become. This allows me some flexibility, because if I believe something will go for $10 or $15 or $25, I can experience those profits without damaging my long-term holdings, when I certainly believe in this case XRP will go to 4 or 5 digits. This way I get the best of both worlds. But David makes a great point. You know, just in simple business, people aren't selling something at $3 if they believe it's worth 10. And likewise, any other number that you put to it. Now, today, if you're going to join us in the Freedom Zone, ladies and gentlemen, we are going live today. Digital asset investor and I are going to be joining each other in the Freedom Zone. Make sure you click the link and join. It costs almost nothing to be in this group. You'll get our daily videos, 0 Google ads, and let me tell you something, extra content that is about free speech and censorship free, because we know that the platforms we're using today are not in that regard. They do not respect that at all. So today we're going to be diving into some real interesting things, the World Economic Forum, but in a way that is going to open the door to understand some of their game plan to really harness all of us under tyranny, I believe, and you need to know it. And I also tell you, we are going to tackle some very other serious topics that you're going to want to know about too, but you got to join us in the Freedom Zone to get it, and you're going to love it once you're there, and you won't believe the conversation. No bots, no scams, none of that stuff, just great people having great conversations. We'll catch you in the Freedom Zone. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.